This is something I keep getting asked all the time is people are always asking me what podcast do I listen to? And I don't listen, believe it or not, I don't listen to ourselves that often unless I said something really stupid the day before and I'm like, I want to hear how bad it is.
Mm-hmm. Right. You want to know damage control.
Right, yeah. Or if we do something kind of edgy, I kind of want to see like how it's received and how we delivered it. So that, but if I'm not listening to or critiquing.
But we get all, I hate listening to you guys too much.
I do. I get tired of hearing myself. I get tired of hearing you guys for sure. What I don't get tired of, though, is listening to my boy Jordan over at Art of Charm. So if you have not, like, we had him on the episode not too long ago. We met probably 3-4 months before that, and we hit it off right away. Guy's super cool. Talk about a great interviewer. I listen to him a lot myself because I like to listen to how he interviews his guests because he's been doing this for so long, and he's so fucking good at it.
He's got some incredible guests, too.
Incredible guests. One of my, he just had
Crazy Entrepreneur.
Tony Hawk was in 575. So episode 575, he does Tony Hawk. Talk about if you haven't listened to Art of Charm and Jordan yet, listen to his interview with Tony Hawk. That episode was badass. Can you pour another drink, please?
There's something in a second, but here, this is something really important.
I already did.
Can you not do it at the same time?
I need to send out a message to our listeners right now.
What kind
of very
message?
Important message. Because our ultimate
Are we
goal,
gonna write it in the sand or like behind one of those like airplanes that write it in the clouds?
No, but I'm glad you went there. But
Thank
no.
you to text Katrina
What we need to what our main goal here is to spread
You know what I mean?
the word
Marry us.
of fitness and health. We want to make, at the end of the day, if we can make more people healthy and fit, we're happy. That's all we want to do. But we need your help. This is what we're going to ask you to do.
Absolutely.
This is what we're going to ask you to do. We need your help.
Okay.
Take a friend.
I have a friend.
You got a friend.
Yeah.
You're looking at him. You're like, look, man.
No, it's a girl.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You're unhealthy, or you're fat, or you need to move more, or you need more strength, or I want to help you out. This is what you do. Go to mindpumpmedia.com. Enroll in the MAPS Super Bundle. So now you've got everything that you could possibly need to help your friend. Take that and gift them.
Wow.
Gift your friend
Who doesn't want to do nice things like that?
the MAPS Super Bundle. And this month, anybody who enrolls the MAPS Super Bundle gets the No BS six-pack formula and the occlusion guide
That's no bullshit, people.
for free.
Damn it, that's like icing on the
For
cake.
free. So, this is what I want you to ask yourself. Sometimes you have to ask yourself tough questions. Are you a good friend or not?
Wow.
Are you truly
You're
a
gonna
good
put me on
friend?
the spot like that.
If you're a good friend, that's what you're going to do.
But listen, I care about people.
You're going to go to mindpumpmedia.com. You're going to buy your friend the MAPS Super Bundle. By the way, sometimes you have to be your own friend.
I see.
So maybe you get yourself one too.
Love yourself.
So get MAPS Super Bundle for you, MAPS Super Bundle for your friend. That's 2 programs for 2 amazing people. We love you.
I feel like I just got 2 hugs.
Mindpumpmedia.com.
If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
Whose idea was it to be inebriated with this episode?
I don't know. I think our forum, we a lot of people have been talking about.
No, Adam, it was your idea.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah. Try and pass
Why?
that shit
Yeah,
off.
I like how you like to give away the credit you're not sure about. You're like, you know what, this could be a really bad idea. Well, let's go ahead and tell the audience that this was happening. It's like anything we do that was brilliant and smart. It was like, you know what?
Hello.
There you go. There he is.
Is he on? Oh, turn him up.
Yeah, fuck you, by the way. Fuck you guys.
Listen, Justin,
Yeah.
just be clear here. I like the way you look. He talks, he's making fun. He's doing the fat stuff.
Yeah.
I like it.
Listen,
Because you like them thick. That's why.
I have no complex at all.
He doesn't.
So I say bring it, bitch.
You know why Justin's the worst person? Like if I were to let's say I were to talk shit about someone because I'm like, hey, I'm more ripped than you are.
Yeah.
Because he can go in the gym and beat me at everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
so I say, fuck you.
that's more manly.
Yeah, this is
I would rather lose a ripped contest than a fucking exercise contest.
Well, when you guys all left, I got to be honest. When you left the other day, I was the only one in here, and I had to try those big Indian clubs. I almost ripped my shoulder off. Literally.
You don't just jump right to those things, dude.
Well,
Come on.
I started with the small one. I knew better than to do that, right? I didn't go, hey, you know what? Let me pick these big fuckers up and swing dynamically with my shoulders. I at least did the 3s or 5s, whatever you call those, and then the next level up. So I did the 2 before, and I thought, okay, I got this.
I wonder how long it's going to be before
I got this.
before we need to change the name of them because people are going to get offended.
That they're
What?
Indian clubs?
Indian clubs.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we'll need to call them something.
Why?
Fuck it.
Why would you be offended by that?
everybody gets so
That's what
offended.
they're called.
You know what? I feel like
Do you play
we're more,
Indian music?
We're
while
more
you're doing it?
PC than every
do.
other podcast that I listen to.
Yeah.
Every other podcast I listen to, racial slurs, fucking sexist shit, everything. I mean, maybe we drop the F-bomb more than a lot of podcasts, but I think we're pretty PC for the most part.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, our audience does not hesitate to let us know when we're not. Fucking email right away. You're hemorrhaging their
Well, this is a
female
space-
audience because you talk about boners.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a space though that's like it's in like the health like service kind of industry. Like you don't get people that are assholes. You know, everybody's trying so hard to be like, you know, oh, like I'm so gentle with you, and let's take you through this health.
It's
fitness
not
journey.
real, bro.
Like nobody wants to talk shit
It's
and be
not-
like, hey, man, you know, you're not doing it because you're not fucking doing it.
Well, forget talking shit. It's just not real. This is what I know is that from all the years that we've been in fitness, you see like there's this trend right now of, and it falls right in line with like just normal America too. Not even just fitness, just this, you know, overly sensitive, and we're so and I get it because 30 years ago, we were fucked up, right? People were unbelievably over the top, discriminated, and were racist, sexist.
Made up a word there.
Discriminative?
Yeah.
I fucking love you for that.
Let me tell you something.
Even though you call me fat, I still love you.
30
what I mean?
years ago, we were discriminative.
Discriminative.
We were discriminative.
Wait, big
And-
word.
Now,
Let's-
now I
big
remember,
word, go fast.
Now I remember why I stopped drinking.
It amplifies your brain
I
down.
love it though. It's the best.
So I got to tell you guys, I have another steam room story.
Is it continued from our last?
No, this morning.
Is it a new character that's involved?
It is a new character that I have not seen before.
Okay.
Who came in this morning? God, the steam room is such an interesting place.
Well, before you go to this story, I'm curious. Have you ran into the old man lately?
Yes.
Okay, so you've seen him since the last
I
time.
see him, and there's now.
Does he actually work out or does he just steam?
I've only seen him in the locker room in the steam room, and I can tell now. Like he's dominated me. Like, you know what I mean? Like we walk by, and you know when two dogs
Do
meet.
you lower your head a little bit?
Yeah, you know when two dogs
Yeah.
meet and they like fucking they posture
Like
up.
you
and
make
then-
eye contact, but then you lower.
and then
the
one of them
eyes.
dominates them, and then
Yeah.
from that point on, when the two dogs meet, the pussy dog rolls over.
Right.
You know what I mean, or whatever. Like, yeah,
So you showed him your belly.
that's me now.
He showed
Like,
him your
I
belly.
walk by and I'm like, yeah, and I'm just kind of like,
His feet are up in the air in his hands.
Wouldn't it be funny if Sal actually got down on the floor, rolled on his back?
yeah.
I think that'd
It's
be
like,
awesome.
Fuck, man,
Yeah.
like you just dominated. You know, you mean you're the alpha in
That's
the
it.
situation.
Yeah.
Well, let's come
So
on.
I'm thinking about fighting him in the parking lot. I need
Here's
to
my
find
8
a way.
nipples that
I need
are
to
on my stomach.
I need to find a way
just
to dominate
submit,
him.
bro. He's got years on you, man. Just think where you'll be at. When
Can you
you're-
imagine if I did fight him and he kicked
Right.
my ass? He was some like kung fu master.
Yeah, that would probably.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
some old man shit though. You're only good at that once you like get some age under your belt.
God damn it. Anyway, so I'm in the steam room today, and an old, white dude comes in. Old regular dude comes in. Immediately the first thing I notice is not everybody walks in the steam room naked. Most people wear a towel. Well, this guy going in
He gave no fucks.
buck ass naked.
Yeah.
With the grayest, most biggest bush I've ever seen in my life.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a huge plume.
So it's not
of
like
gray
this is
pubes.
undeniable. Like
No.
It stuck out.
It was literally a plume. Like, okay, you ever watch videos of like those old black and
Like
white
a
videos?
treasure,
like a frosty
like a
forest.
treasure trove or so.
Yeah, so
Like you're going through Siberia.
A plume. Now it's a plume of
and
pubic hair.
there's, You know,
It's a
a fresh storm of snow.
It's a plume because you ever watch
I make
those-
up words and then you throw weird ones in weird fucking places.
No. A plume describes it. Let me explain.
Treasure
What,
trove
let me
plume.
explain
Yes,
for a second. Let me
All day.
teach you what plume means.
Okay.
You ever watch those old black and white videos of an atomic bomb going off, and there's that big fucking smoke? That's a plume.
Okay, a mushroom.
See, I think plume
Yes.
like
A mushroom
taking
cloud.
like a bunch of powder and just throwing it at your
That
face.
could be a plume,
right.
So if from far away,
So could obviously 70-year-old pubic hair too.
Yeah, so
this
from-
could also be a plume.
Plume of pubic hair.
Yeah, so-
I don't want to be a part
so
of that.
from far away, if you squint a little bit, it can look like a bunch of steam or something. Like it's that white.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, whoa, what is that fog right around your dick? But no, it's gray pubes.
It's not fog. It's pubes.
Yeah, so that's the first thing I noticed, right? Because that's where your eyes go immediately when a dude's walking around naked. Doesn't matter if you're straight or gay. For whatever reason, it just happens. Like, oh, you're naked, there's your dick.
There it is.
It was gray pubes.
Yeah.
So he comes in, and he's weird. He's a little bit weird. I can sense he's not 100% normal.
White guy?
White guy, old guy, probably 70. Like he's that old, right?
Okay.
Because he's a little saggy in the elbows.
Liver spots on the head.
He was actually kind of fit, which I was for a second. I was like, I want to tell this guy he's kind of fit. You know what I mean?
While he's naked?
But
Yeah,
that's why I
probably
didn't.
not a good
Yeah,
idea.
that's why I didn't do it.
Yeah,
and
good-
because
good
he's
call,
weird.
though.
And
Hey,
because he's
man.
weird.
Yeah.
Because he
Hey,
walks
bro.
in.
Yeah.
Great. You look great. You look great.
Looking tight.
So-
Looking
fucking
tight over
naked.
there, yeah.
So he walks in and
Definitely
he's,
a come on.
And he's got
So
these kind
if
of.
another man tells you,
I think you do
look
curls.
great while you're naked. This is a fucking come on for sure.
Listen, whatever you do in the gym is working.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had a couple guys tell me that
Yeah,
while I was naked.
100% come on, bro.
Really?
Yeah, there's
That's
rules.
very flattering.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with another man complimenting them. I do this all the time. I wait till they're clothed.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Oh, because you don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
be.
It just
in front
You
of
know,
people.
I got caught in a moment. This is a real story, right? So I was like,
I'll put my story on hold.
yeah,
Continue.
yeah, yeah. Don't worry. I'm gonna.
Don't worry, he's gonna
I'm
chop it all up in
Hijack your story with the story, and it's gonna be like 2 minutes.
He's
Don't
going
even
to
worry.
hijack it and then forget it
I'll
halfway
forget.
through. We know.
Just kidding. Go
we know-
ahead, Sal.
No, go.
Just kidding. Yeah. So I was a new trainer going into Gold's Gym, and I basically was like showing somebody this trigger point technique with the cane, you know, and so I.
Cocaine?
Yeah. So this guy was
I'm
asking
sorry.
me, and I didn't know he was gay or anything. You know, no big deal. Whatever. One of my other friend's clients, and like, so he saw me doing like these techniques with one of my clients, and so we go into the locker room.
So
and I
you're
see him in
using
there.
his walking cane to
No,
fucking.
no. The cane, like you know, the one that curls back on your back.
The question mark.
Yeah. And then you do
call it the cane. Okay,
Yeah.
you fucking
do
lost
trigger
me.
point
I was like,
kind of
he's-
therapy with
Didn't
that.
you picture him with an old man's cane, fucking sticking it in someone's
No,
back
you're still
right now?
thinking old man. He's not
no.
an old man.
No, I knew exactly what he was
So
talking about.
when I come
Fucking
into
liar.
the locker room, right? So he's butt naked, and I just didn't think anything of him. Like whatever, it's a locker room. Dudes are naked, and he's like, "Oh yeah, hey, what are you doing with that? Out there with your client, you were doing something with the cane. I had it with me." And he's like, "Oh," and so I started kind of showing him stuff with the cane. He's butt naked. I forgot he was butt naked.
Whoa, wait a second here.
No.
Wait
Like,
a second.
like he asked me about.
Hold on. Let's get something clear on this story.
It
here.
sounds
You're
like you
in
might
a-
have. Yeah,
yeah,
you might have. You
listen,
might have.
You're in the restroom.
You
I
might
just-
have done this on
'cause
accident,
sometimes
but-
you're not the best at telling stories. I just want to make sure this is clear for everyone, including myself. Okay, so you walk into a restroom.
have I done, Doug?
Yeah, you walk into a restroom.
Locker room.
Locker room, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
locker room.
Into the locker room. Yeah, totally normal.
With the
carrying
cane.
carrying your trainer tool, totally normal.
Trainer
Also-
tool. I'm going back
Yes,
to my
which-
locker.
totally
Which,
normal.
By the way, could 100% be looked at. If you looked at it and didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
it looks like a sex toy.
Okay, yeah.
Continue.
So you walk in
Well,
with
you
this,
would think that.
with this trainer tool that
I
kind of
didn't.
looks like a sex toy
Okay.
over your shoulder, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
you come walking in, and
Yes.
naked dude walks up to you and starts a conversation.
Yeah.
And you
And
start
you
showing
decide,
It's normal.
You decide that this is a good time to apply your trainer knowledge on this guy with potentially selling
He
him
was
on training.
curious and he was asking me about it. What am I supposed to do?
Okay, so continue.
Did you do anything like
So
any quadruped moves or anything?
No, I'm like showing him. I'm like, oh, you put it here on your back, and right here around the rhomboids, and like you're gonna find a trigger spot right here. It's gonna be real tense.
He
And
looks
then
back and says, "Ooh,
he's
that
like,
tickles."
He's like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Oh, God,
He's
yes.
like kind of moving his way through it. He's like, oh, that's great. Oh, that feels great. And then all of a sudden I got like it dawned on me right then.
Then it
I was
hits.
like, oh no, and he was just like, ooh yeah, and I was like, oh, what am I doing? And I took it off. I'm like, okay. So anyway, that's how it works. And then I put it in the locker room and I like bailed, That was the time I almost had gay sex.
Okay.
Whoa. I need you, Justin. You're a little overconfident. I don't think it would have been that easy. You're not
Hey,
that
man.
hot.
Hey,
Fuck.
man. It was already almost there.
So
This is typical guy, right?
Okay.
Like, typical guy. Like,
I totally could have had that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he wanted to fuck.
That was mine if I wanted it. You know what I mean? It was there.
it was all yours.
Presented itself
I
on
turned
a
it-
silver platter.
I turned it down.
I think.
Yeah. I was
think,
like, ah.
I think just the conversation starter was already throwing it at you naked.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's
it's so funny though. I was so like,
Because
I had
I
no
walk around
idea.
naked. I walk around naked in the locker room. I think that's fine and normal. It's fucking totally normal. But I don't go around starting conversations naked.
Yeah,
Really?
right.
At least let me put my towel around or let me put my bottoms on first before I have a conversation. I most certainly don't approach another man who's naked too.
Well,
I
I'll
think
be
there's
honest.
just-
I was like
there's locker
really
room
gullible,
code.
and I almost got sucked into
Okay,
it.
so
Literally, no pun intended.
Here's
Yeah.
the rest of my story. So,
Yeah.
old guy walks in,
Plume of pubes.
plume of gray pubes,
Just staring at
just
you.
yeah, in my face. walks in, and he's kind of weird. I can tell. You ever look at someone, you're like, you're not all there. You're not 100%.
Yeah.
That's him. So he's kind of making these weird mouth noises, like that's literally what he's doing in there. So he sits down. By the way, no towel. So it's bare ass cheeks to fucking tile, which everybody knows you don't do that in a steam room because you can catch weird things on your butt.
Things are going to crawl.
You don't want a butt. You don't want
on your balls.
on your balls. You don't want a yeast infection on your balls
microorganisms
or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's just naked. He don't give a fuck. No shoes. No flip flops. Nothing. Just sitting down.
Paunch exposed.
Goes over to the little spray water thing and sprays only the plume. Just the plume.
Wait. He's spraying his plume.
Just the plume area.
No.
Just the pubes.
Like he's misting
he
it
sprayed
like
himself?
misting it like a bush, like he's trying to
like he's soaking it.
water it.
He's just soaking it.
Like it's a chia pet.
Like he's watering himself. He does that.
It's like maybe it's like a cooling strategy.
I guess it is.
Because when my balls are cold, the rest of my body is pretty cold.
Well, everybody
when they're
knows.
warm, the rest of me is pretty
Everybody knows that the balls dictate the temperature of the body.
Okay.
Everybody knows that.
Chia.
But anyway, he does that. He's doing that, puts up the hose, hangs it up, and then he starts to kind of like wring out his pubes with his hand. Like he's like getting the water off.
No.
Yes! He's getting the
They were
water
that
off.
big.
He's getting the water off with his hands, and then he sprays it. He does this process about 2 or 3 times, and then goes sits down again.
I'm so glad that you're still going to a public gym so you have these stories.
And
for us.
I
know, right?
I feel like this
Bro, he did it like
you're
3 times.
inspiring me to go back to there because I've been training at our own facility. And I forget how many fucking weirdos there are inside the gym.
Real winners.
But he did it like 3 times, so the second time he started doing it, I'm literally, this is exactly what I'm thinking in my head. Is like, I can't wait to talk about this on Mind Pump. So I don't want to stop him, but I had to say something.
he's spraying his pubes.
So I look at him and he kind of looks at me while he's doing this, and I go, wow.
No, he looked at you while he's doing that?
He looked up and we caught each other's face.
Eye
And
contact.
and I went,
That's
awkward. I went, wow.
Yeah.
And then he just kept doing what he was doing. I don't know what else to say. I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna say.
Like, cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
so
God.
that was this morning in the steam room at Club Sport.
It continues.
It continues. I hope to see more crazy shit in there.
Yeah.
So far we've got naked yoga guy. We've got my dude that does the steam room competition, the hairy Persian, which I still haven't had any real altercations with, and now we have plume pubes.
Plume pubes.
Those are the 4 characters.
Was this the first time you met him?
First time I've ever seen plume
Okay,
pubes.
we'll see if he returns.
We'll see what happens.
He could be just a traveler.
Yeah.
You know
You know what I'm saying? Coming through in their gym, they do weird stuff like that all the time. So you know what I'm saying? You see those guys all the time. Coming by, he's got a day pass, does his weird shit in your gym, and then he moves
Marking
along.
his territory.
Never see him again.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Bring it, bird.
Could be it.
There she is.
She's got them pubes.
Soar like an eagle.
she has-
Today's Quah is being brought to you by Chimera Coffee. It's the only coffee that is infused with all natural nootropics for a cleaner, calmer, and more focused buzz without the crash. Click the Chimera link at mindpumpmedia.com and input the discount code MINDPUMP at checkout for 10% off.
It's the motherfucking Quad.
Eagle has landed.
Let's go. Girls Gone Wild. First question.
Yeah.
Girls Gone Wild.
First
No,
up.
that's not what it is.
Girls Gone Wildcast. It's a play on words.
All right.
Hey, what could I use instead of discriminative?
Oh my God.
Any word that's real. That's not a real word.
You know what? I was after you called me out on it, I thought like, how does that happen in my brain? Like, how does that like? What's going on? Like for that to happen? Where I think sometimes I'm just
hustle through it.
Well,
You have a lazy mouth.
That's what I think. That's a very good explanation to that.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think.
lazy mouth. Like you start talking.
'Cause
You're
in
like,
my
I don't feel like moving my
It
mouth
doesn't
that much.
catch up yet. It's just like, nah.
I think it's the evolution of how we speak. So most people make fun of me, but I think
we all need to get there.
Yeah, I think that's why it's weird for you guys when you hear it because you're just like, I didn't understand that language.
I think what happens is we speak words, whereas you let the words tumble out.
Yeah, just
You know what I mean?
like you already assume we know what's in your head.
Yeah, because I'm already on to the next 6. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what's going on. All right, Girls Gone Wild.
No.
Library, blah, blah, blah.
Can I talk?
Yeah. Sorry, Doug.
All right. First up, Girls Gone Wad podcast has a question.
It's not Girls Gone Wild.
No.
Girls Gone Wad
maybe
podcast.
next.
It's a play on words.
Yes.
It's a play on words.
how much does age factor into fitness goals? This Girls Gone WOD podcast lady is 39 years old, and her body doesn't seem to be responding as it used to. And the question is also, does this vary between men and women?
I can't be serious right now.
Well, yes, you can.
No,
okay.
because
I got
you
it.
made us drink.
I got it, though. I'll start us off
All right,
seriously.
be professional.
Yeah. I know. This is...
Let's battle axe all these questions.
First off, Girls Gone WOD podcast are friends. They have a podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome ladies.
We've been meaning to
Fun
do.
ladies.
I believe we've been meaning to
Very
do
fun
something.
ladies.
We had Brianna reach out. I thought reach out to them, or they reached out to us. I can't remember.
We'll see what happens.
If we drop the ball, I apologize. Busy.
Well,
as
let's
fuck
get
over
on
here.
this Girls Gone WODcast.
Maybe we'll have them out. Maybe we'll invite them out here because
Yeah.
I know they've been huge supporters for a long
make it
time. So
happen.
we got lots of love for them.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the deal. I think we've kind of indirectly talked about this many a times on the show. Indirectly, meaning like there's so many things like when you talk about adaptation, right? That what happens to us over years and years of lifting weights and trying all these different programs. You've done high intensity, low intensity, new study comes out for this. Now you try, well, when you're 39 and if you've been lifting for more than 5, 10, I don't know how many years, but I'm assuming if you started a podcast that's kind of geared around fitness and you follow us, that you've probably been lifting more than a few years.
She has. She said in the whole question, I remember she said her body doesn't respond like when she was in her 20s.
Okay, exactly. So
she's been doing it for at least 10 years.
Yeah, closer to 20, right? Because if she's 20 to 40. So there's, so she's probably been lifting for quite some time. So there's I think there's a plus side to this and there's a minus side to this, right? The plus side is that when you've fallen off for a while or you haven't been dialed in, like I would totally say that this is where I'm at right now. I think that when I know I want to ramp it up, like I can get back to where I was before. Now to progress beyond that becomes really challenging because we've done so much to our bodies, right? As far as different types of modalities and intensity level. You've manipulated like the fit principle a million times. And so you now are not getting the same response as what you were when it was a new adaptation. Like when it's a new adaptation, you get lots of return from it for quite some time. And then after you've done it and revisited it so many times, the body is so adapted to it that the return on investment is just not quite the same as what it used to.
Well, and I think too, as you've aged, like your body has identified the main movers, right? The loud signals that you're trying to enhance even further. And so this has become sort of like your go-to protocol. And this is years in the making. And so like if the more years under your belt of doing things the same way, this really like reinforces this signal and this process that you've taken to get there. And so you have to recognize the fact that the way that you've done things is it leads up to where you are today. And then to kind of enhance that or to progress further, it takes like kind of stepping outside of that and reevaluating a lot of these signals and like maybe like where you can see things where they are weak and then focus a little bit more on that.
Well, here's something you want to consider too. Get a group of 39-year-old men and women, just people, right?
Yeah.
39-year-old people, and that's the average person, and then compare them to 39-year-olds that are fit and healthy.
Yeah.
The difference.
I feel like the spectrum. I feel like the spectrum becomes more extreme.
The
right?
difference.
So you get like either the people that really cared about themselves, or you get the people like it really starts to fall off. Once you get towards 40.
No, what
50,
I noticed
It makes a huge
Makes
difference.
a big difference.
The
Like, you see
drinkers,
it.
the smokers.
You see all those patterns and
heavy
how
runners,
they've like rolled out.
Like somebody who has really got good balance in their life as far as like everything. Because I can always I've seen really fit people too that are like 40, 50, but they also were in a tanning bed fucking 15, 20 years of their life every single day. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Or I see someone who's
it's true.
really aesthetically fit, but then they were major smokers though, or they were major drinkers though, but then they still
No,
did
I'm
all
talking about healthy.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
all those, but
All
that's
of it.
what I'm saying is it like you really start to see all those different things. I've seen a great body in the later 40, 50s, but
Let's
then
talk about how
neglect
much
the other
they
things.
stand
So-
out if they are healthy and fit.
Now
That's what it is.
Yeah, when you see a woman who is 45 plus years
It's
old,
a neck turner.
and she's got a fit body. Her skin looks really good. Her hair looks really good. Like, man, you can just You can just tell. You can tell that they have taken care of themselves. And that's at 45.
Well, that's
it just gets multiplied as they get older.
That's it. The difference between you and your peers gets so fucking massive the older you get.
And we notice that in our mid to late 30s now. Like, you know,
go to your high school
in the
reunion.
20s, it wasn't a big deal. When I was 25 and lifting and training and doing all that stuff, comparing me to my friends who really didn't that much wasn't like that big of a difference.
Oh, now it's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Now your friends are fat and losing.
Yeah, normally I have two sets of friends. Literally, you're either health and wellness minded or you just don't give a fuck at all. And there's a huge fucking.
They look way different.
Huge. Yeah, not even just look, just like your activity level, what you choose to do, your attitude. It's amazing to see the difference of those groups.
And so what I want to say is that when you're 20 and you're working out, you don't have years of wear and tear on your body. If you have bad exercise technique and form
Justin,
and bad habits,
I'm
talking.
I got you.
I'm talking right now. But listen, don't give him too much because Adam, he goes too far. He doesn't know what's going on.
There's no such thing as too far.
Trust me, you go too far. There's not as much wear and tear on the body, but when you're 39, if you've had bad habits in the past, now they start to become cumulative. They start to add up. And so you can get, problems with your joints. You can get problems with your exercise form, and that will hinder how your body responds to exercise. I know myself, I did some stupid shit when I was in my late teens and early 20s when I worked out that just over time turned into problems, and I can't get away with it anymore. Like, I can't grab, dude, I used to do the craziest shit. I would do overhead tricep extensions with a 120-pound dumbbell. And that was it was gnarly on my elbows then. Could I do it now? If I forced myself, but it would fucking hurt because I've had those years of wear and tear on my elbows. Like, I used to do a bunch of stupid shit that now I can't get away with anymore. And I think more of it has to do with the fact that it's just added up. As far as comparing a 39 to a 29 to a 19-year-old body, definitely, here's the thing. When you talk to athletes, you will find that the first thing to go is agility. The second thing to go is maybe speed.
Then strength and power.
Strength and stability. You can keep those for a long fucking time.
Oh, I would debate that.
No, I tell you what.
I would debate the stability thing. Strength, yes. Stability, I don't know, man.
No, because you're hyper-connected with your CNS.
Yes, look at here. If you look at all the world records for strength.
CNS for power and strength, though, not so much for stabilization because you don't do as much unilateral stuff as you get.
You might be thinking balance.
Yeah. That's stability, bro. That's what stability is.
I'm talking just general stability.
Central nervous
system.
They
can generate max force, but they can't control it as
yes.
well.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
I just had to come in.
Well, so here's the thing, though. If you look at all the strength sports, you'll see athletes competing at very high levels in their 30s and 40s. If you look at extreme endurance sports, you'll see some of the top athletes in their 30s and 40s. Like, you can go really, really far for a long fucking time. And if you lift weights and train properly, my goodness, you can continue to set PRs for a very, very long time. And your hormone levels will mimic or look like they did when they were younger, especially with proper resistance training.
But the main reason why she's asking this is like the fact that she's probably putting in this hard work and not seeing the same return that she used to, which I think we can all agree has to do with just the amount of, at this point, she has done so many things that her body has become, and really where I see this the most discrepancy here is when somebody has done this a lot of high intense things over all their years.
That's what I'm saying, that cumulative effect of shitty workouts.
Yes, a cumulative effect of all these really intense driven type workouts. So now when you throw something even close to that intensity level, you don't get the same return as you used to, which is also why, and this is where I think people don't completely understand us when we stress the importance of the lower intensity and manipulating frequency, is because we know this, that 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, if you're 39, you want to be rewarded for that day you get out there and decided to fucking bust your ass.
You really want to do this correctly.
You want to see return in that. That's not fair. You're fucking 39 and you're kicking ass out on the road that nobody else is.
What are you even doing with your life?
Nobody else is doing that. Come on, like you deserve that. But the problem is, you've all through your 20s, you've done that a billion times, and so your body's not responding the same way. Yeah. You take somebody who has slowly progressed, like their intensity over years, and they have never, and they're still reaching like new levels of intensity in their training, they are seeing that return.
You know, there's a lot of truth in what you're saying, Adam. Despite the octave changes in your, there's a lot of truth.
Just getting passionate about that
Because
I feel you,
really,
girl. I feel you.
There's a lot of truth. Because what
was.
people need to realize is exercise causes oxidative stress on the body. Oxidative stress is literally one of the root causes of aging.
Yes.
This is how we can
You
always
see
tell
it in
when
the
somebody
skin.
was a runner their whole life. People don't think about this either. Like,
Yes.
man, you want to
I can
tell you a marathon runner who I meet when she's 45 years old,
Yep.
you would think because she's skinny and lean, she looks good, but she looks old and weathered because of this exact reason.
I can tell people who work out too much who are a little bit older because they look older than their age, and it's from that oxidative stress.
Yeah.
You are not doing yourself any favors by going ridiculous all the time. There's a delicate balance with exercise between it improving your health longevity and it actually taking away from health and longevity, and it's that extreme factor. But here's the thing that you want to consider too. As you get older, I would argue there's some benefits too. Here's what I'll tell you what, and I'm speaking from a male perspective. I don't know about you guys, right? I'm 38. You guys are not too far behind me. Do you guys
37.
put on muscle easier now than you did when you were 18, 19? Do you put on muscle easy? Because I do. I can build muscle now.
Well, okay, so that's
much easier than I
okay.
could
Hold
before.
on.
I can manipulate
yes
my body
and no.
easier.
Yes.
and
I would agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Yes and no.
Because you're very versed in.
There you go.
You know, like how you understand your
I
body
wish
now.
I knew what I know now when I was
But,
25,
I mean, let's talk
because
about-
I would see way more results at 25 with the amount of experience that I had and the knowledge that I have now than what I am at 35 putting that all together. So the reason why we see better gains now,
Wisdom.
is wisdom. It's not because our bodies are set up to
But
be that
now,
way.
as you age, you're fighting diminishing hormones. I mean, like, let's be
can,
honest. That
yeah.
signal, like, it dampens over time. Like, and so this is something that, like, I know even for women, especially like if they had, you know, a child and you know it changes you physiologically, changes you, and and so you know to bounce back from that, god damn, that's a hard process to go through, and like I feel for it. So those are definite things. Like, I mean, there's more obstacles, there's more barriers, and Adam's totally lighting up some marijuana.
You're going
again.
too much, Adam.
Yeah, he's going deep.
You're going deep.
Do you have to announce it on the fucking show?
That's true. That's it.
Just keep talking there.
We sprinkle angel dust on there. I say.
I'm just saying we're getting deep
Dude,
in this
I watched
conversation.
I
now.
watched Friday the other day. Remember that movie Friday?
Yeah.
The part where what's his name was smoking weed with the essays and they sprinkled angel dust on it. And he's fucking
Sitting with the
tripping.
chickens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so
What a
funny.
great part.
Yeah.
So here, there's a second part to this question. She says, is this different for men and women? Here's something interesting, and studies actually support this. In experienced men and women, in other words, men and women who are trained, who are relatively advanced, who've been working out for a while, women actually display faster recovery than men do. I don't know if you guys knew this or not.
I didn't know that.
They show less muscle damage and faster recovery. When men and women are untrained, men tend to recover faster. Now, the reason for that discrepancy is they think it's because men tend to be more active anyway with physical things. So even in untrained states, the man's probably a little more active than the female. But once they're trained, women recover faster. And this is funny now. This is interesting now because so far of all we've had men and women pretty evenly split for who's done MAPS programming. And when I first introduced MAPS Anabolic, which was the first program,
Oh, women definitely see the biggest.
women, both
definitely.
men and women respond very
But
well.
women become our diehard fans because they're like, holy shit.
Women, it's
Yeah,
almost
for
like
sure.
it's okay. So here's what you need to. Here's what you expect with excellent programming like MAPS. We expect about 80 to 85% of the people to do it will say that it blew away their other programs. There's a 15% that we accept that will have genes that may respond better to other kinds of programs.
Of course, because there are exceptions to the rule. There's always that.
Right, but we know that the majority of people are just going to respond better to our programming. We also know that there's a small percentage, anywhere between 10 to 20%, that are going to be super responders to our programming. People who just respond so fucking well to frequency, it just blows them away. And a lot of women fall in that category. Like, I'll get messages and pictures from women who are like showing me before and afters, and it's like crazy in a like 30 to 60 minute, 60 day time period.
I have to feel
and
like,
I think it's because they recover faster, so frequency for them just blows them away.
Yes, that's part of it. But I feel like, as far as our culture is concerned, the way that women are prescribed to train is so silly and patronizing.
Well, that's a good point. I think that's why you could argue
and
that.
So you come in and you give them like valid weight training protocols that like, you're not skirting around the idea of like, let's like train hard. Let's like do this like legit, and like
women have been taken advantage of in the fitness industry more than for sure.
Like so
anybody else.
Patronizing. It pisses me off because it's like, like women can be badass and do just like we could all train the same. There's no reason why we shouldn't train the same.
I want to counter that because a lot of the messages, and you're 100% right, 100% right. If we take a bunch
you want to counter it?
If we take a bunch of people who work out, you're going to find some of the horrible training myths are going to be women will tend to adopt them more because they're marketed to that way. However, a lot of the messages I'm getting are from experienced, hardcore training women who do body part splits, eat 6 meals a day. Some of them are competitors who are showing me pictures of the before and afters, and they're blown away. Like this is the crazy thing. How often have you had, and I'm talking about serious, not the bullshit like myth. How often have you had women who've trained consistently, who've been trying to build muscle for years, come at you and say, okay, what do I do now? I think I'm building too much muscle.
Yeah.
I've actually had
I've had that like once in my life.
I've actually had several women now start off and saying, well, I started doing your butt builder because I wanted to build my glutes. And then they'll come back 2-3 months later and be like, okay, my butt is about as big as I want to get it. What do I do? Which is crazy.
It is an easy problem once you have that.
It's a great problem. That's what you want. You want to get in shape as fast as possible and then have to scale back. But it's just amazing how they respond. And I think women recover faster.
I think the Girls Gone Wild actually have our program, right? They have
Girls Gone Wild podcast.
Yeah. He really just sees that.
Yeah.
When he looks at it.
That's why they did it. I think it's very clever.
No, it is.
I think that they run our program. I hope they do. They should.
Yeah.
If you guys aren't, get the fuck on there. That's the first thing to help. But that's probably wise because you are a badass. You've been a badass for 20 years, and now your body has become so adapted to it that you're not seeing the same.
Let's interrupt that.
Yeah, right. Interrupt it would be ideal. So this is where changing the modality. Maybe you've never been a kettlebell girl before. How about that? Like we have a great kettlebells for aesthetics. Like if you've never messed with kettlebells, you want a whole new adaptation.
I'm surprised at how popular that program is.
Yeah, no,
people love that program.
So I would find something, and I don't know which maps you are on if you are running any of them, but this is the idea of changing these adaptations. The difference between red and green is like significant. That's great. So if I had somebody who's like a major power lifter, strength training, and they're like, man, they're going through the same thing, I say, well, one of the best things you can do is go through our like green program. Or if you're somebody who's like super mobility, yoga, Pilates person, that's what I would say, okay, you want something totally different, go to red or black, and that'll totally do that. Or if you're somebody who's done kind of all of that and you've cycled through, but you haven't fucked with kettlebells, I'd say go through like kettlebells aesthetic.
Exactly. Now, before we go to the next question, Doug, I want to make that announcement. Eldoa certification happening here at Mind Pump Media Studios, March 11th and 12th. You go to beachfitness.com, go on there's a drop-down menu at the top. You can sign up and get a discount. Eldoa is something that will tremendously increase your value.
Well, just to give people a heads up too, we're going to be here, so we're totally ecstatic about
you get to hang out with us.
Yeah, so if you are somebody who's out of the state, it's and I know that the Eldoa program is a very legit certification. It works as CEUs through a lot of your major national certifications. We're the three of us couldn't be more excited about going through it. I mean, I haven't been this excited to go through a certification in a long time, so it's going to be awesome. Plus, we're going to be hanging out. You get a chance to be in the Mind Pump studio. This is the first official certification that we'll be holding through Mind Pump. We plan to do tons of them down the road, and we're really pumped to have them March 11th and 12th. We're at Beach what?
Beach Fitness. Beach Fitness. Yeah, go online. You can sign up right there.
mindpumpmedia.com.
Yeah,
thank you, Doug.
Go to the event tab.
Just go on our site under the event
Do
tab.
we have all of them or just Eldoa up right now?
Just Eldoa right
Okay,
now.
so eventually you guys. So that's good for people to know now, anyways. That so going forward. At our website.
We're going to be the headquarters for the Bay Area.
Mindpumpmedia.com. You'll be able to go to an events calendar where we'll have whatever we got coming up certification-wise. I know I just had somebody inbox me recently and said, do you guys have anything in March, Adam, going on? Well, here you go. We've got Aldoa, whoever that was that inboxed me on
We got
Instagram.
it going on.
So you guys can always find that on the Mind Pump Media page under events. Check it out. Hopefully we see some of you guys. Next question, Douglas.
Bring it.
Next up, Juniversal. What is going on with all the IFBB pros in Kuwait?
Do you know what's
Dude, I'm
fuck-
so intrigued by this right
Dude,
now.
can I say something?
We all have.
Bodybuilding. So I was a huge fan.
that yak milk.
I was a huge bodybuilding fanatic in terms of the sport and the history of it up until I'd say the end of the 90s, right? I was very, very big into it. And one thing that I noticed in pro bodybuilding is that it would go through these it would be consistent for a while in terms of how everybody looked. And then it would go through like this boom explosion of like change.
Yeah.
And then everybody looked like that for a while.
I feel like Arnold, we've
And
had
then
it like
boom.
only 2 or 3 times.
Right. So what you have is you have the bodybuilding of the 60s, and then in the 70s, there was this all of a sudden this fucking huge transition, and guys got bigger, they got more ripped. And really what it was is they just increased their doses of steroids, and they started incorporating dieting a little more seriously.
Wasn't that when the
Then-
surge of growth hormones started to come on?
No,
not next.
Not yet. Then the 80s came
Okay, it was
about.
around the 80s, right?
And in the 80s, bodybuilders started utilizing steroids, putting more science into it, adding higher doses, incorporating
Insulin, growth hormone.
Not yet.
Still not in the
no,
80s?
Not people were playing with them a little bit.
Synthol by then? We got
No,
synthol coming in?
No, they were playing with them a little bit, but they didn't get crazy with them until the 90s when Dorian Yates won his first Olympia, because he went from like second or third, I don't remember, I think it was second place to Lee Haney, if I'm not mistaken. And he came back the following Olympia looking like a different person. Just, those very famous black and white pictures of Dorian?
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
he just, and nobody had seen bodybuilders look like that before. Like, it was a completely new look. It was
Did he have that ripped gut?
it was just
turtle shell.
Yeah, it was just this era of mass monsters, and people say it's because the doses went up even higher, and then they started really understanding how to use insulin and growth hormone. So all of a sudden, you had the era of the mass monsters, the Dorian Yates, the Nassar El Somebody, the Kevin Levrone, all these guys just got fucking massive and super, super shredded because they started using diuretics and all kinds of stuff. And then it stayed like that for a while. Ronnie Coleman, of course, hit the scenes, and he was just another ridiculous-looking guy, but nothing really changed super dramatic until recently.
Which is so exciting for me that, like, and this is, if you've been somebody who's been hanging out with Mind Pump since day one, like, one of my favorite things for us to do is, like, to talk about what we see in the industry and where we think it's going in the future of it. Like, those that have been with us knew way back when we talked about shreds before anybody knew all about that bullshit. Now you see every Instagram person jumping on board, and now they're all poisoning each other's business, which is hilarious. So, this is another thing with a ketogenic diet when that all came out, and that was going to be a huge thing, and now everybody's talking about that.
Well,
and now you
this
see
is a big-
supplements around that.
This is a big thing right now.
This
bodybuilding.
is going to be another huge topic over the next like 5 years.
Well, what's happening right now? It's kind of
Because we're going on a bro. This is like
I've never seen anything like this.
no. I remember when the first fucking time I told you guys, like, dude, there's something going, and we didn't want to talk about it yet because we're like,
It's pure speculation, but like
Totally.
you see these people and their physiques are completely different. So there's something.
Okay, let me explain something to you. The bodybuilding mecca is Southern California. If you're anybody who's anybody, you probably go to Southern California. And now there's other meccas now that have kind of popped up, like
There's
Las,
lots, yeah.
Las Vegas now with, because I think
Metro is over on the East Coast.
But the Middle East is not a mecca. Never has been for bodybuilding.
Yeah, Kuwait.
Nobody was.
Kuwait.
Yeah, nobody
Except
was
for
going,
the actual Mecca.
Nobody was going to the fucking. Nobody was going to the Middle East for that's a good one, Justin.
It's like Middle East. Come on, man.
Nobody was going to the Middle East for fucking bodybuilding. All of a sudden, you have American bodybuilders going to Kuwait, of all places. Oxygen Gym, I think, is the place that they're going.
Yes.
And they're just fucking going over there. Like, all the top guys are flocking there. Why? The equipment ain't any different. There ain't nothing. Because
The coach over there isn't magical, which I'm sure, kudos to Oxygen Gym because they're going to market the fuck out of that.
Oh, they have been.
That's going to become the place to be.
So I'm on Instagram and I'm looking at these bodybuilders that are going over there, and this is crazy now. Keep in mind, you have guys who've been competing for years at the top pro level, which already means they're doing everything they possibly can. They're taking every drug. They're maximizing their drug intake. They're eating like freaking maniacs. They're sleeping. They're training. They're doing everything that they know they can do to look the best, and they've been doing it for years. So they're not changing that much. Like year over year, you're not looking at a pro bodybuilder who's been competing for 10 years, and you're not seeing the next year going, holy shit, he's gained 10 pounds. It doesn't happen. They look the same. The difference is sometimes they look sharper than others, but that's all about water manipulation and diuretic and that stuff.
Or their programming. You know, those
Right.
those little
But
things
it's
are
minor.
making micro adjustments.
But it's minor.
Yes, totally minor.
These guys, these experienced guys are
15, 30 pounds on them, dude. Just
they're
ridiculous
going to Kuwait,
numbers.
And they're posting like a 90-day transformation, and it's fucking weird. And they've got a different look to their muscles. Like they remind me of that myostatin inhibited bull pictures that you can go online. They look silly.
That's what we were speculating a long time ago.
Well,
That's
just
what we thought.
maybe they
And
figured
for
out like a myostatin.
Just
And now
so
the good
everybody knows, there'll be fucking supplements that will be attached to this.
Yeah,
like
no.
these guys
It's
are
a new drug,
they're
guaranteed.
making such huge transformations that the next thing, so once everybody starts talking about it, everybody figures it out, and then blah, 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 blah. Then it becomes a big deal, and then now everyone's viewing it, looking at the before and afters of these guys going over there. The next thing to follow after that is someone to be smart, whether it be a supplement company that already exists, that sponsors these guys and has them tell them that that's why they got that way, or an up-and-coming new supplement that nobody's heard about or seen, and then all these guys claim that they're taking it.
No,
So,
there's a new drug.
It's coming.
100%. I'll bet all my money on it. It's a new drug that they're using, or they're using the same drugs in some different way, but it's probably a new drug. And we know a lot of people in the industry, so we hear the rumors, right? We hear the rumors, and here's one of the rumors. We do not know if this is true. We're not obviously not promoting this, and I'm going to go into why you don't want to fuck with this particular drug. But we know people in the industry who've said this is what's happening. Apparently, there's a drug called let's see here,
Krelix, right?
Increlex.
Increlex.
Increlex is I think the brand name for Mecassermin, and it's a hormone that either stimulates insulin-like growth factor production or improves or increases its effect in the body. Now, insulin-like growth factor is a hormone in the body that promotes growth. Bodybuilders have been fucking with insulin-like growth factor for a long time now. That's one of the reasons why bodybuilders have gotten so big. IGF-1. They've been fucking with that for a little while now. Apparently, this is the new drug that they're using along with it, that, and this is again all rumor, so we don't know if this is true, but this is what's making them so much more muscular. Here's why that's fucking scary. Insulin-like growth factor is connected to longevity and to massively reduced risks of cancer. And I don't mean increased amounts of IGF-1. I'm talking about reduced amounts of IGF-1. In fact, human populations that have a polymorphism where they don't have, or they have low doses or low normal amounts of IGF-1, you can tell because they tend to be smaller because it's a growth hormone, but they live much, much longer. And we know there's lots and lots of science that goes into, IGF-1, because we know inhibiting it reduces your risk of cancer and stops cancer growth in many cases. Increasing it, does the opposite. These guys are fucking with fire, man. And of course, bodybuilders don't give a shit. They'll take anything that makes them bigger, and they don't really care.
You think
what's
it's
happening.
that, or do you think it's just that they found anabolic sand?
Anabolic sand.
Maybe they're
just eating it.
It's camel meat.
There's definitely, in how I know
Camel
there's something
balls.
specifically going on over in Kuwait is like, so I still talk to a lot of buddies that are, top competitors in men's physique and bodybuilding, and they're all going over there. Like there's been a handful of them already that I've spoken to.
I don't know anybody that's ever gone to Kuwait ever,
exactly.
let alone for working out.
And now all of a sudden, 5 of my buddies or 5 of my IFBB peers that are heading over there. I'm just like, okay, so obviously there's something more than a gym and a coach over there that everybody's decided.
They're lifting gold bars.
Yeah, so it's going to be. This will be something that will be talked about over the next 3 to 5 years. You'll hear a lot of it going on for sure, because now that we know it's happening and these guys are starting to mess with it, you'll start to see all the Olympia guys. So you're going to, you were describing the eras, there's going to be a 2015 to 2025 type of era of bodybuilding where we made this next big leap.
Bro, did you see
you're
that?
About to see it.
Did you see that? Was it Brandon Curry? I think it was, pro bodybuilder. Did you see his picture?
Yeah, you sent it over to me.
He posted a picture of himself when he got there, and then one that was I think it was 30 or 90 days. Either way, it was a short period of time. It looks dramatically different. And this guy's been competing for a while. It looks silly how much more muscular.
I'm sure they shaved like 10, 15 years off their life.
I don't know, man. It's just you're fucking with fire. Like literally, IGF-1 is a huge era of study.
I hate to talk shit about it though because I love that bodybuilders.
They don't care, dude.
They're going to flirt with whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've been like this human. We have moved so far in this because this has been something forever that's been demonized and black market and not talked about. So somebody had to be fucking being the test. Like somebody has to eventually do this because
it's that much closer to superhero serum.
It is, bro. Like we're getting
close.
We are. And this process had to happen. I mean, I don't want to be the guy, but I definitely don't want to be the guy to tell the guy who wants to be the guy, don't be the guy.
I'll be the guy behind the guy. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
confusing.
You didn't get that?
If you're that guy, I'm going to be the other guy.
Doug got it. That's all that matters. As long as the producer understood what I was trying to get across there.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like,
don't be that guy.
You guys remember the 90s when, like I said, the Dorian Yates era came in and they went kamikaze with the steroids. They started really going crazy with insulin growth hormone, protein intake. And a lot of people were like, oh man, these guys are going to fucking die. Well, guess what? A lot of the 90s bodybuilders are fucked. There's a lot of them with horrible health problems, and quite a few of them have died. A few of them have died because of diuretic and crazy, drug use on stage.
Yeah, who knows exactly what it is? It's like this plethora of things that they were doing.
And people don't realize, like, let me tell you something about your bodybuilding magazine. They will tell you who won Olympia, who looked phenomenal in 1989, who looked awesome in 2005. They will very rarely, if ever, publish a story about this ex-Olympian now has new kidneys, or this one is now on liver drugs because his liver. They don't talk about it, but there's a big chunk of them that are. And you would be surprised.
This is why I'm not that surprised. I'm very passionate about this, and it's a lot of why I speak out on it on this show and on my Instagram and things. Is that I remember being in my 20s, and because we grew up in watching all this. And even being somebody in the fitness industry, I connected the level of someone's fitness, basically, or the way they looked.
To health?
Not to that. That's not how when I was younger, I connected it to how much juice they probably did.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If I saw somebody on the Olympia stage, oh, he must be taking tons of juice, And so that's just how I looked at it. And I remember the first time that I took anabolics, I had that thought process going through my head that
oh no, I'm going to be like that guy now.
Well, I felt like, and I think that this is true with a lot of the average gym goers and guys especially that are looking to dabble in steroids and this is why I stress to all of them, like, man, you need to prove to yourself first that you can align your eating, align your training, align all that to get yourself in the most amazing shape naturally before you fuck with that, because then you'll understand which is really doing which, and then it gives you a whole different perspective. You can
discern which.
Yes, exactly. Then you can discern, because I'm definitely not somebody to tell someone don't take this or don't do that. Like, it's your body. Do what the fuck you want with it. Like, and I think fuck people that try and tell you otherwise.
You're like, even then, like, it's the minimum amount that will give you the greatest result in any fashion of this, right? So
same rules apply.
Same rules apply.
And that was when I was competing, I was running across guys that were just like upping their dosage, adding more steroids.
Because they're ignorant to the rest of the training and the nutrition.
And I'm looking at their bodies and I'm going like, no, bro, what's keeping you from winning right now is not the level of steroids. Like, you're imbalanced. Like, you've got fucking no chest. You've got fucking terrible legs. You know what I'm saying? Like, build your physique and focus on that. And no amount of steroid is going to fix your imbalance.
In fact, there's a lot of amateur bodybuilders and non-bodybuilders that use more drugs and are more kamikaze.
It's more
than even pros.
It is,
because they go on these forums and they read about what the pros are using. They've got bad genes. They work out shitty, but they think it's all about the drugs. I've known more than a few people who I've known regular dudes.
Those are more of them. The reason why I say that, I actually saw it within competitors. That's what blew my mind, because if anybody should understand the importance of diet and training, it's somebody who's competing at the highest level. Mm-hmm. So when I saw it happening with them too, was what made me go, holy fuck. everybody who's a natural a natural just a person who goes to the gym working out who's taking steroids thinks this way, because these are who they look up to. If these morons still think of it like this, you know that they're definitely getting that information. So that's what made me so passionate about, was like just letting people understand.
Well, that's the problem with it being taboo. You don't really have a good understanding of how to use it, if you're using it, or like, you just have this
bro, come on. I'm a fucking adult.
He wants more, Justin.
I want you to pour yourself.
You're on that one, Sal. You can.
Well, tell him to stop being a bitch too. Why don't you fucking pour your own one?
You like the one I made.
Do you want
right?
to? Yeah, it was good. Well, you want a nipple for yours or what?
Look at this. I got mine. I'm ready.
It's not every day that we drink on the job, dude. Come on.
Next question.
Oh my God.
Pour yourself one too, you pussy.
I got it.
Sweezy for real.
Adam gets a lot nicer when he's drinking.
Yeah, so much nicer.
A lot nicer.
Very gentle.
Yeah.
How do you train with resistance training to complement Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Oh, wow. I wouldn't repeat that.
And then the second part to this question is, Sal, do you plan to compete again? And also, do either
This is a
Adam
perfect time for
or
me to go pee.
Justin want to go as well or compete as well?
You know what? So I have an interesting relationship with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When I first got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I've told this story several times on the podcast, but I walked into a Jiu-Jitsu school, and I had known.
You got humbled.
Big time. I had known Jiu-Jitsu or about Jiu-Jitsu for a long time. I had done judo as a kid. I'd watched UFC, the Gracie family. I was always fascinated with it. I walked in as a big, strong, muscular guy with some grappling experience, and I got my ass kicked by a guy who was half my size, not a strong guy, who was just very technical and very good, and knew how to use his body positioning and how to use leverage. And it humbled me, and so I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Right around this time, at this point, I had been using the over-the-counter designer steroid, or pro hormones, they used to call them, but in reality, they were active, right? So it's basically like a steroid. They were legal. And I had been using them on and off, and I had a poor relationship with exercise in my body. And this is when I was just trying to get bigger.
So you're kind of big when you were going into jiu-jitsu.
I was big, and
so I give you a false sense of ego and confidence.
It wasn't just that. It was that I just had a poor relationship with my body. I was always, at that point, I was really just trying to get big.
Yeah.
And I went to jiu-jitsu, got my ass kicked, started training. I didn't stop with the constant focus on getting big until about a year into doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. After about a year of doing Jiu-Jitsu, I competed in a tournament, and I lost. And I lost not because the guy was better than me, but because I gassed out and I wasn't as mobile as I could have been. And I had, at this point, only been doing Jiu-Jitsu about twice a week. And so at that point, I lost, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to Jiu-Jitsu. I'm going to take Jiu-Jitsu 4 days a week. Like, I'm not going to fuck around anymore. And I'm going to lift weights. And the way I'm going to lift weights is not going to be to just build muscle anymore. It's going to be to complement my jiu-jitsu. And so my focus changed on having to be big all the time to getting better at jiu-jitsu, which was, oh my God, it was beautiful for my health, because I was able to take my laser-like focus, my obsessive compulsion, tendencies, and take them from trying to be big all the time and just direct them to jiu-jitsu, which was great.
Yeah, you're trying to improve your movement now.
Right, because what happened was I stopped, eating so much craziness. I stopped lifting weights like an idiot. I stopped looking at supplements and pro hormones so much, because now I didn't mind if I lost some size, if I can get better with jiu-jitsu. So it was really the beginning of my, really having a better relationship with my body. Jiu-jitsu did that for me. And then I really focused and got obsessed with jiu-jitsu. I was all about the movement, and I got a lot better. The difference between going twice a week and 4 days a week was dramatic. But there was a big difference in my training as well. When I lifted weights before, it was like my resistance training didn't change from how it was before, and it was always focused on building
all hypertrophy.
Yeah, it was all.
You have to feel like now you would be different, right?
Totally different.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was lifting weights like I had done before, and I just threw jiu-jitsu into it, which was bad because it took away from my resistance training because I'm burning all these calories. And by the way, jiu-jitsu is very exhausting, burns a shit ton of calories, and it beats up your body, especially in the beginning when you don't know how to move.
Well, when you spar, you do like max effort bouts.
You come home and you've got mat burn and gi burn on you, and you're tired, and you're just, it's like you can't sleep because you're so, it takes a year to really learn how to move your body so you don't fuck yourself up.
Right.
But at that point, I cut my resistance training down from 5 days a week to 2 days a week. So now I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 4 days a week, and I'm lifting twice a week instead of 2 days a week of Jiu-Jitsu and 5 days a week of resistance training.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm only doing resistance training twice a week, and because Jiu-Jitsu is my focus on my resistance training changes. So I realized something early on, because at first I thought to myself, like, okay, now I'm going to lift weights for Jiu-Jitsu. I want lots of endurance and stamina. So I'm going to lift weights like with a bunch of endurance and stamina. That's a mistake. I started doing circuits. I started doing, CrossFit style workouts. This is before I knew what CrossFit was. So it's just that style of
Well, you noticed a lot of the guys in your jiu-jitsu class did do CrossFit. And you were like
they did later
cautionary with that, right?
Yes, they did later on.
Yeah.
So I was doing circuits and I was chaining exercises together, and I'm doing all these fucking box squats and crazy shit.
Do you know, can I pause you for a second?
Sure.
This is a part where I think people don't understand too. Like I remember when we first started, like people always would have this like, I understand you guys have this stance against CrossFit, like we had this like thing against them. But here's why. And listening to you tell this story reminds me that I think at one point all of us have created programs not only for our clients but ourselves.
We understand the programming.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
And it's faulty.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's not that we have like this like nose up in the air and it's like, oh, we're better than them, and that no, it's like I programmed this before, and I saw what it did to hundreds of clients. Mm-hmm. So when you've trained thousands of people and you've done all kinds of programs and created different types of workouts, you understand that. And then when you apply it to hundreds of people and you see what it does, and then you apply it to yourself.
It reminds me of when we got competitive against other trainers for who could come up with the most crazy, intense workout. Like that
very much so reminds me of that.
That literally takes like 2 seconds of thought.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it's nonsensical. It's not taking into account how the body responds and how you're improving yourself. You're just trying to create the most intensified experience in that moment that you can.
You are training. You are creating a program for the sake of a workout, not the sake of the person.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's the difference. Is that there is nothing to say that these fucking workouts aren't fucking hard as shit and this and that. But once you've done that and you realize like this is the ultimate goal is to take somebody who is getting involved in any sort of fitness modality, whether it be CrossFit or Orange Theory or just a local training box, whatever. The point is why they're signing up. They want to better themselves. They want to become healthier. They want to become stronger. They want to become faster. They want to become fitter. Whatever their personal goal is.
Well, I feel like
that approach very quickly leads you to high risk of injury, burnout, body stops responding, and you have a high dropout rate. And they don't publish their numbers, but I'd love to see what the dropout rate is.
What the turnover is, right?
So when talking about jiu-jitsu, it's already an intensified, cardiovascular type experience where you got a high level of skill, high level of body movement, mobility, all these kinds of things. So now how do you complement that in terms of strength training?
Exactly, because at first my approach was I'm going to train to build those attributes. So I'm going to train with stamina. I'm going to train with explosiveness. I'm going to do all these. And what ended up happening was my performance decreased in jiu-jitsu because I was burning myself out. And I'd go, grapple with someone and I'd be exhausted after 5 minutes. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I had kind of a realization. And I thought to myself, and I said, all these different training modalities, all these different things that we do, I need to start thinking of them as tools. One's a hammer, one's a screwdriver, one's a pair of pliers. And if you have a toolbox and if you want to put a nail into the wall, you use a hammer for it. You don't use, could I hammer a nail into the wall with a pair of pliers? I could definitely figure out a way to use pliers to hammer a nail into the wall, but it's going to be far less effective than using a hammer. And those pliers are really good at doing things that pliers were designed to do. Weights are really fucking good at getting you strong. Nothing will get you strong like weights. There is no form of exercise that will build pure raw strength like weights. That's what the tool is designed for. If you want to build endurance, do things that are tools that are for endurance. Now, in this particular case, I'm doing jiu-jitsu. If I want endurance in jiu-jitsu, guess what I'm going to do more of? Jiu-jitsu. I'm going to grapple more. So what I did with my resistance training is I used it for what it was designed for what resistance training works best for, which is to get stronger. So I backed off on the intensity, and my resistance training sessions were designed around getting me improving and increasing my absolute strength.
Yeah.
And so my lifts looked a lot like phase 1 of MAPS Red. And of course I would phase in and out of
So
it
you could
because
summon that kind of response that you needed in that moment.
because when I was getting my deadlift stronger in my 1 to 3 rep range, when I'd go to jiu-jitsu, I would see the carryover, and I'd get the endurance from grappling.
Yeah.
If I wanted more endurance, I would just stay longer in matches, and I'd go from one person to the next. And so the best way to train with resistance to complement your sport is A, you want to train imbalances, which I was always aware of, so make sure it helps you prevent injury, and B, use resistance training for what it's good for, and that's to build strength. But the last point I want to make is this. When you get stronger with resistance training, it is very important that you do a high degree of skills training in your current sport. Because if I take an athlete, if I take a baseball player, a football player, a basketball player, a jiu-jitsu player, if I take that person and I snap my fingers and I give them 15% more strength, and then I have them go do their sport, for a little while there, they're
going
going
to be take a step back because now
their coordination's off.
Yes,
They're off because their timing is off.
Yes.
Their strength is off. Their
Important to
body.
note that.
It's very important to note. So if you're going to lift weights to get stronger, continue your skills training so that you can incorporate or translate that strength to skill.
You know what I love about your analogy with the tools? Like I'd literally look. So, I know we have to kind of bring CrossFit up every now and then, but like with CrossFit, how I look at them, they are a Swiss Army knife. So if I'm going to go for like a hammer to a nail, I'm going to pull out this little shitty, hammer out of my Swiss Army knife, and I'm going to tinker at that thing for about an hour to get that job done.
Yeah.
Because I've spread it out to all these other little fucking tiny performance gains that I got from my Swiss Army knife.
Very, very true.
Boom.
Very, very true. And the last question is,
to complement the jiu-jitsu, I think, and this is why we created these different programs, and we also created them with flexibility of modifications and things. So I would take someone like this and I would have them go through MAPS Green. And while they're going through MAPS Green, how I would organize the foundational and the mobility
MAPS
days.
Green would be perfect for this.
Yeah, MAPS Green and the way I would organize it would be based around their level of jiu-jitsu that they want to do. Meaning that if jiu-jitsu is your number one priority, well, then a majority of our time, that's going to be foundational. So a lot of your, on where you would be doing foundational work in green, a lot of that's going to be replaced by actual jiu-jitsu, right? Because that's your main focus here. And then a lot of the mobility type exercises that we include in there is what you would do on the off days to not only help build strength, but also keep you mobile and multiplanar.
I'll tell you what, if you're an athlete, whether it be jiu-jitsu, basketball, baseball, whatever, MAPS Performance is 100% the program you want to use. And the way you would utilize it is if you're doing a lot of training in your sport, so like 4 days or more a week, maybe even 3 days or more a week of whatever sport you're into, then instead of doing 3 foundational workouts a day, do 2. And then do mobility on as much as you want, because mobility is not intense. It's good for reducing risk of injury. The second note, if you're on MAPS Performance, phase 4, you utilize in the off season. Do not utilize that during the season, because phase 4 itself is very, very intense. And if you throw phase 4 in with your hardcore training, you run the risk of overtraining. So, and I believe we've made notes in that. Like this is the, building the bigger gas tank. This is something you want to do in the off season leading up to a season. The last part of the question, he wanted to know if I would ever compete or train again in jiu-jitsu. Here's what I have to say about this. I have a love for jiu-jitsu.
This person didn't care about me or Justin at all?
Huh?
This person didn't care about me or Justin at all?
Well, they asked me first, and they said if you guys would ever do this.
Oh, okay. We were in
I see.
I have a tremendous love for jiu-jitsu. It taught me some incredible lessons. The biggest lesson it taught me, and this is why I would fucking love for both you guys to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. The thing jiu-jitsu did for me the most was it checked my ego.
Yeah.
So hard.
I can see that.
It's
Are you
so
saying
hard.
that because we both have egos?
Yes.
You assholes.
Not
need to go
because
through
not
this.
because you guys have bad egos, because in this particular realm of fight training or whatever, when you go in and you wrestle someone and you're going 100% because you're not punching, right? You're not punching and kicking, so you can go as hard as you want. To have someone fuck with you like you're a child. Literally, like you are a fucking child. You've never experienced this before, I guarantee, because you're both big fucking dudes.
Yeah.
You've never wrestled against someone smaller than you that made you feel foolish. When you do that, it is such a growth tool. Like, you grow as a man, as a person. You really it really develops a healthy ego, because you realize just how vulnerable you are, and you develop an incredible skill for the art of fighting. And you see some of these guys fight, and you really truly realize, like, if I took a world class 140-pound Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy and brought him in here, and we put mats on the floor, and we set up 5 minutes, and your goal was just try and just pin him or do something to him. Within a 5-minute period, he would put you to sleep, if you wanted to, 3-4 times in a row. And it's such an incredible feeling, like, so demoralizing, but so character building to have that happen.
Totally sign up.
Yeah.
Actually, truth be told, and you brought this up before, I actually really would love to do this. I would love to.
You guys would be excellent at it.
I'd be all for it.
I would love to do. If there was anything like that I would get into as far as like competitive with, and I don't know if you classify that as fighting, because then we're not punching each other, but that's the type of fighting I would do now at this age, because I'm not going to get in an MMA ring and get punched in the face right now. Like,
no.
Not now. Maybe you could convince me 10, 15 years ago, but but I would love to do something like jiu-jitsu or judo. I would definitely love to learn an art like that.
Judo, we'd all get hurt. Judo's way too explosive. Jiu-jitsu's beautiful. You can start on the ground, go. Can you still get hurt in jiu-jitsu? Yes, but if you go against like a high level judo guy and you try and stand with him, he's gonna throw on your fucking head. And if you don't know how to fall, and you're big dudes, you're gonna hurt yourself on the ground. Trust me, that shit hurts if you don't know how to fall right. But Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I would love for us to all do some of it. It is so fucking awesome.
All right,
so
sign
humbling.
us up. I'm down.
All right.
I'm down. Maybe we'll bring a coach in here to do it for us. That would be awesome. Roll some mats out right here. We actually once a week we have a guy actually come out.
Don't start, dude.
I'm down,
start.
dude.
On,
Put it in
man.
the budget.
Let's do that. And
Sign us
some Muay
up.
Thai.
All right. If we don't, it's Doug's fault. I'm just gonna put it out there right now.
All right, I'll take the blame.
Blame Doug.
All right, next up is BBullet09. Diagnosed with Crohn's a few years ago. How to eat for it and for gut health.
So it's funny because
I'm glad we went this. I just had somebody message me about Crohn's.
You know what's horrible? There's an epidemic that's happening right now that is not being addressed, fully acknowledged and addressed by the mainstream media. And I have my own, reservations with the mainstream media. The mainstream media, all your major media news outlets are controlled by a few corporations who are very, very intricately connected to our government, and they've been caught many, many times promoting bullshit, either to promote some kind of propaganda, whether it be pro-war or anti a particular, drug that they want to make illegal or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that they talk about to promote that can be very bullshit, and there's a lot of stuff that they don't talk about because they don't want it to come out. And one of them is the epidemic of autoimmune diseases.
Yep.
We are in the midst. Look it up. Look up the numbers. Look up the statistics.
Every day I get somebody who inboxes me on one of my social media platforms that is talking about this, whether it's something they're directly affected by or someone who's close to them directly affected by it. And it's unbelievable who it's happening to, because a lot of them are people that have been involved in fitness for the last 10, 15 years.
You can't just blame genetics, because you also have to take into account that like these genes get expressed by you exposing it to certain factors. So.
Yeah, no. Genetics, I'm sorry, is not the reason this is happening. Okay,
it's no. It's part of the reason.
No. Here's what I mean.
Epigenetics is true. We understand this way more than what we understood this.
But here's what I mean by that. We did not all of a sudden evolve to have all these fucking problems.
Yeah, but I just want to say that there is that, because somebody's going to say, "Oh my God," then yes, it does. There is a role it plays, but it's not the only role.
No, you're right.
And it's not even the major role in this situation.
It's not. Genetics, genes have not changed dramatically over 3 generations. They just haven't. We haven't evolved that fast, but we have this epidemic, and it is indeed a massive epidemic of autoimmune diseases, which include things like food allergies. And for any of the parents that are listening right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because I was in school not that long ago. I'm 38 years old, okay? When I was in school, I don't remember a single fucking person ever, maybe one person that I can think of that had a like peanut allergy or some kind of an out and out food allergy where they're where today there's entire schools that are peanut free. Yeah. Most schools have a peanut or allergen
free.
Regular
balloons because of the latex.
Dude, if you go to a lot of schools nowadays, if not most,
everybody's living in a fucking bubble.
When they have their lunch tables set up, 1 or 2 of the lunch tables are partitioned off to be allergen free.
That's crazy.
Tables.
There should be enough evidence for most people just to get that right there. That didn't exist 10, 15 years ago.
Not like this. Not at this level.
No.
I mean, it existed, but it wasn't like this.
Not when we were kids. There was nobody who had allergies in class, and if there was, it wasn't something that there wasn't enough people that we actually designated areas or made rules in the class.
Dude, there are now bills right now going out in state legislatures, if not already have been passed. I think in some of them, where they're going to require EpiPens to be put in classrooms now.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's one aspect of it. You have autoimmune diseases, all of them on the rise. Every single autoimmune disease you can think of is on the rise. Crohn's is one of them. Crohn's has grown exponentially over the last 20 years. Diseases like skin diseases, psoriasis, on the rise. Gut issues in general on the rise. Certain types of arthritis,
irritable bowel syndrome,
rheumatoid arthritis on the rise. Like all these autoimmune issues have exploded, and there's a lot of theories as to what the culprit is. Personally, I believe it's a combination of a lot of these things. And here's the things that I think that are causing them. Number one, it is the overuse of antibiotics, I think, are contributing to this. And what I mean by that is the overuse of antibiotics in humans and in animals. And it's causing this reduction in variety of gut flora and
healthy bacteria,
just overall bacteria that we're exposed to and that live in and on us. And there's already studies that have shown that the last 3 generations have less and less diverse gut floras and microbiomes than the previous generation. So that's one of them. I think we're being exposed to it. There's lots of tests that have been done on public water that find micro amounts of antibiotics in the water. And the argument is, at that levels, it's perfectly safe. But again, how often and how long do you drink water for? Your entire fucking life. So over the course of 30 years or so, it's going to have an effect on you or your unborn children, I believe. Then there's also the introduction of, GMO type foods, which really didn't start hitting the market until the 90s. And in the 90s, the market penetration rate was very, very low. But within 10 years, their market penetration rate was very high to now, if you pick up a processed or packaged food, the odds that it's a GMO are anywhere between 70 to 90%. So the majority of packaged, processed, non-organic food is GMO. Now, why is that important? We have conclusively now found that the glyphosates that are used on GMOs. So GMOs are
genetically modified.
They're modified to withstand very high doses of synthetic weed killers and insecticides. Okay, so glyphosates being one of them. And so they're modified to be able to take high doses. So you have these crops, and you could just blast them with,
just
herbicides.
Efficiency, so that way, the bugs don't eat all of our shit.
Not only that, but you kill all these weeds, but the plants themselves don't die. So it's super easy, right? But what we know now is that glyphosate's number one. The World Health Organization has loosely connected glyphosates to cancer risk. Number two, we know that glyphosates have been shown to fundamentally alter gut flora. And I want to be careful with my words because there is no conclusive evidence that it's bad. But all the other science is showing altering your gut flora in a non-natural way is probably bad. So that's another thing. And if you look at the charts again...
so just so people know, I mean, that whole last 30 seconds of what you said is where all the other science, right? So, and it's going to be great. We're about to have Lane Norton on the show. So you're going to see an example of a PhD that will take information.
He'll combat that part.
Exactly. That will take that information because there's not enough conclusive evidence. So there's a problem right now is because you'll have one side
it's just
that will take
what do you want to lean on?
Well,
it's fucking
they'll
skewed.
treat science like the law where it's like you're innocent till proven guilty.
Dude, it's fucking
to me,
skewed.
I feel like that doesn't apply when we're talking about our health and well-being, because I would like a little heads up, or even if the majority doesn't agree with me yet, if a lot of people are starting to see this or notice something, I think that information should be shared. But you've got the other side that likes to battle with that because they have other agendas.
You have to place your own bets.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, because it's not as conclusive, but you still have to place your bets in one side or the other. And so if you're placing your bets on a side that's like, what's not proven versus like, like what intuitively you feel like may be problematic, there's two sides to that.
Look here. Bottom line. Here's the bottom fucking line. Every single month, there are several approved drugs that are removed from the market because new information comes out. And these are, by the way, our FDA approval process for drugs is the most expensive and extensive in the world by far. By fucking far. It takes 10 years and over $1 billion to take a drug from conception to approval if it gets approved. And yet, every month, there's several drugs removed off the market because they discover some fucked up thing. Look at Prilosec, over the counter. That's how safe they said it was. So great. Now we're connecting it to dementia and Alzheimer's, for example. Yeah. So it's all, first of all, this shit goes wrong all the time. Number two, where's the money going? The money is going in supporting GMOs, not going against it, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Most of the studies done on GMOs.
Because of efficiency.
And because that's where the fucking money is.
Yeah, that's where people are buying their products.
That's where the money is. And number three, where are the 50 and 100-year studies on these substances? They don't exist.
No.
They don't exist. Well, let me tell you something. If you eat food like we all do, and you eat food every day like we all do, and you eat the typical American diet, you're going to be eating for your entire life. And if you're alive for what's the lifespan now, average 74 years? It might not show up for 50 years. It might not show up for 30, 40. That's a long fucking time. There's no study that goes that long. That's the thing you want to consider. So when you have animal studies and you have other studies that are showing some problems, you're better, in my opinion, it's better off to err on the side of safety. And here's the deal. Like, we've evolved with natural foods, with non-synthetic chemicals,
for hundreds of years.
For hundreds of thousands of years, for millions of years. Like, I'm going to trust that now over GMOs have been on the market since the mid-90s. Right. The longest studies done are 6 months or a year. Not even.
There's like a 1,000-year rule, right?
Yeah, like I'm not like, let's use
milk, water, and like wine and
it's bullshit.
Coffee.
It's bullshit. And the other one, by the way, is artificial sweeteners, which have not been in massive widespread use for that long. And by the way, over 75% of the adverse chemical reactions that people will get with food, so synthetic components in food, over 75% of the reports that go to the FDA for adverse reactions are due to aspartame. That's over 75. If you take all the fucking complaints that go to the FDA when it comes to additives in food, over 75% to aspartame, which is an artificial sweetener that's deemed totally safe by the FDA. So for me personally, when you're dealing with autoimmune diseases, what's more important than what you do, it's what you shouldn't do.
Well, it's crazy.
Like what you should avoid.
Check this out. This is what's tough, though. So I just got an inbox. I want to read it, and I hope my boy. I'm not going to use names so I don't get him in trouble, but I have to share this story with what we're talking about right now because this happened fucking yesterday. He inboxes me, and he's a competitor, a buddy of mine who I know, and he's telling me that he went to the doctor. Okay, so he competes right in men's physique, and his girl competes, so she's been on a competitive diet before. And he says, "What's up? I want to talk to you about my girlfriend. She got autoimmune issues, and her doctor keeps trying her to throw her on a zero-carb, high-protein diet for a year. Every time she has a carb, she reacts, sets her. I don't know what he said there. It's insane. I went to the doctor with her, and we argued. She sent me out. She did a traditional bikini prep, and her stomach was fine. When she eats bad, she has sharp pains, bloating, headache, etc. Now me and her are arguing because every time she leaves the doctor, she's crying and I get pissed. any chance you could talk to her on the phone or tell her, give her 10 minutes? I know it's better if a third party gives her some info, not her boyfriend, and see if you can understand why her doc is doing this and maybe explain to me.
Dude, these problems are, it's like I said, it's exponential growth, and I'm hearing it more and more and more from people all the time with minor issues all the way to main issues, younger people being diagnosed with some of these autoimmune disorders whereas before it was older people. Cancer rates have increased. Now cancer, I believe, is en route to being the number one killer in America. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, that's due because people are getting older." No, when you start to control for that factor, we still have a rising cancer rate. We have a higher survival rate because our treatments are getting better, but diagnosing rate is higher, even if you consider that we're finding them more because better technology, whatever. Cancer rates among pets has gone up. Okay, this is also a statistic that I read.
Dude, don't give away my fucking business idea, dude.
There's a lot of shit that's going on. So here's step number one. You got Crohn's. Pay attention to what you shouldn't do first before what you should do. Here's what you shouldn't do. Stop eating all artificial sweeteners, colors, dyes. Stay away from most or all.
This is what you should do.
Process. Like that's what I mean. Don't eat those things. Like stay away from processed foods. Stay away from all supplements. Stay away from all those things. That's number one. Number two.
This is like right away. Like,
but there's a supplement that'll help me.
Yeah,
no, it's processed and it's fucking artificial.
Number two. Avoid sugar and gluten and dairy. Those seem to be, and this is anecdotal, but there's a little bit of evidence to support it, that people with autoimmune disorders respond very poorly to those three things: sugar, gluten, and dairy. So avoid those three things for now, and take out any other foods you may think that you have an intolerance to. Now, the next step is...
What you explain, okay, let's stop, because I know I have someone specifically that's listening to you for this. What do you mean by that? Like you
eat something,
you have an intolerance to. People don't understand if they have an intolerance to something or not.
All right, here's some easy signs. If you eat something and you notice that you have any signs of gastro issues, whether it be bloating,
bubble
farting,
in your stomach, farting,
burping,
your stool changes, like
heartburn,
runny, really,
heartburn, anything like that.
Headache.
Then look for other signals: headache, brain fog. Then look for signals that take longer to show up: acne or skin changes or sleep. We identified some with my girlfriend. We eliminated them. Actually, peanut butter for her. We eliminated peanut butter, and her skin just cleared up right away. Like she was having some issues here and there with her skin. She couldn't figure it out because she's really healthy. Eliminated peanut butter, skin was better. She reintroduced peanut butter just to test it. Sure enough, she started breaking out a little bit. 100% peanut butter was her trigger. So start identifying those things. Then look into the specific carbohydrate diet, which is being used quite a bit with people who have autoimmune diseases. And what it does is it eliminates very common triggers. And what happens over time is if you have to be very vigilant, especially if you're in the midst of an autoimmune flare-up. You got to be perfect, vigilant, because your body is hyperreactive.
Well, this is what the doctor, and this is where she got really. He said part of why she was crying and she was scared and she was frustrated is that the doctor is telling her that she needs to be strict about this, like no more carbs, eat like this. And so people freak out because he's like, man, she feels stressed that she's going to fail. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, what if I fail? Am I going to die, or what's going to happen for this? So a lot of people just have a hard time with that. But really the reason why, this is why they tell you need to be, because you're trying to alter something, and that's not going to happen over 5 good meals or 2 good days.
Not only that, but your body's hyper reactive. So what you'll find is you'll do good for a month and then have a cheat day where, I'm going to have some gluten or I'm going to eat some whatever, and then symptoms just fucking come back all of a sudden. And what Adam's saying, it takes a while. It takes a while before you start to feel like you're getting better. So you might need to do this for a couple months before you notice that it's
I explain it with people, like when you get these autoimmune issues, it's because you did something that wasn't good for your body for a long time, consistently. So think, before you're really, really good, you're probably going to have to do something really good, the opposite of that, for a very long time to really reap all the benefits. Like, you're not going to, like, for someone like me, I'm still dealing with this, like with my psoriasis. Like, I just made another step in this journey for me literally like 2 days ago, where now all my detergent, all my soap that I'm using is, I don't have anything that has that antibacterial stuff. I have nothing with this scents. Everything's all organic and natural. So I'm like, if I'm rubbing the soap over my body, I'm wearing these clothes every day, and I have something that's a skin irritation, let me try and add something that could be, so, and I'll now assess that, like what a difference that makes. Yeah. And I'll do these little things with my diet. Same way. It just takes fucking time.
It takes time. And you also want to, I mean, from a scientific standpoint, there's something called leaky gut syndrome, which is very common. By the way, it's not a medically accepted term yet or problem, but more and more in the medical community are looking at it and taking it seriously. And the theory behind leaky gut syndrome is that your gut gets inflamed, which it does. And because it becomes inflamed, it becomes more permeable. So things can because your gut lining in particular is designed to absorb some things and not absorb other things. It's a barrier. Well, if it becomes inflamed, it loses its ability to block out certain toxins. And so now things are leaking into your gut, into your bloodstream, and your body recognizes them as foreign invaders. And so it creates an immune response. And that immune response presents itself in many different ways. Sometimes it's in a very big way, like Crohn's disease. Other times it's smaller ways, like acne or something like psoriasis. So when you fix your diet, when you're eating this way, first you fix it, and then you got to give your gut time to heal and for the inflammation to go down and for the mucosa lining to rebuild. And it takes a fucking while. So that's the number one rule. That's the number one piece of advice I'm gonna give you is do these things, be vigilant. It's gonna take time. I hate to tell you this. I've worked with people where it took us 6 months to a year, man, before they really saw big improvements. I personally, when I dealt with my own gut issues and autoimmune issues, I had to be perfect for like a year. Like within that year, if I had a little bit of gluten, fucking huge flare up. But here's the good news. After being consistent for a while, now I can throw them in every once in a while, and I don't have a reaction like I used to. So it's like I've gotten to that point now. So it's going to take some time. But again, I want to stress this. Like, if you have autoimmune issues, even minor ones, okay, consider this: the thing that keeps you alive more than anything in your fucking body is your immune system. If you were to become aware of the amount of foreign invaders and bacteria and viruses that you're exposed to on a daily basis, including amount of cells that try to become cancerous in your body on a daily basis, you would be paranoid. You'd be frozen with anxiety. It's a lot. Your immune system is what keeps you alive. If you have an autoimmune disorder, your immune system is literally a little defunct, and that
I'll tell you right
not
now,
a good sign.
That is the scariest thing for me. Like I'm so glad you said that, because if there's something that secretly motivates me more than anything else to better my condition with psoriasis. Okay, so check this out.
It's a nuisance, right? But if you just look at it like that.
Well, check this out. When I went and saw my dermatologist and I was asking all the different things that I could do for my psoriasis, they said to me, well, honestly, sir, all the things that we have out there as far as the medication, the steroid type creams, the light therapy that we do has more adverse effects to your body than what you currently have. So you're really a level 1 of what we would say in the psoriasis 1 to 10 scale on how bad it is. So you're best off just utilizing these creams and basically getting used to having this and managing it.
Yeah, just
right?
deal with it.
Yeah, just deal with it. And I was just like, I was floored by this. Like, I was not okay with it. And that's what made me start diving into it more and learning that it was connected to an autoimmune disease and what types of ways I should be eating to help this and benefit this. And then I realized I started connecting it to, oh my God, well, if I'm weak here, then that means some other diseases and bacteria are going to have an easier time attacking my body than a normal healthy body, because I'm already at a disadvantage because I have an autoimmune disease. And I was like, fuck that. Like, that to me is the scariest thing ever, is like, I'm more susceptible to something like cancer than somebody who's got a super healthy, strong immune system, because I'm being bombarded already by something. Like, that scares me. And so that also motivates me to be on this search of all these little things I can do to help that. And that's why I said, first, and of course I went through the nutrition first. I mean, that was the obvious, was to start diving into what foods I should eliminate. And I think when I coach somebody that has an autoimmune like this, the first advice I give, because if you were eating all these things before just mindlessly and not paying attention, to all of a sudden now you have got an autoimmune issue and you're like, holy shit, and you actually want to fix it. Like some people just say fuck it and they don't change anything. Like a lot of people, a majority of people don't realize the consequences behind it or don't give a fuck about it because it's not something technically that's going to kill you overnight. So you just say whatever about it and you go about your life. Like, and then you have your other group of people like myself who know they have this issue and they want to fix it, and they're on this pursuit of, okay, what can I do to better that? Well, when I coach somebody, because I've been through this myself and I realize what a daunting task this can be because there's so many things and you got to be doing it for a long. It's not like I'm going to just change one thing and I'm going to be better overnight. It's like I got to continue better practices on all these things that have now been connected or linked to making this issue worse. And you start with food. I mean, you absolutely start with food, and you start with, these things like Sal, which was the exact same thing I responded to my buddy was get rid of the supplements, get rid of the processed foods, cut down on the sugar, back off the
eliminate
carbs,
the artificial
increase the
sweeteners,
fats.
all that shit,
This was the exact advice I said, to start with that. And then you start manipulating and playing with things and allowing things in and out of the diet and really learning to, and this is what we teach all people, even if you don't have an autoimmune issue. We're always trying to teach people to start connecting these dots, because before you got an autoimmune disease, your body was probably telling you things just like it was telling me, but I just fucking ignored them because I didn't know better.
And also understand this, if your gut is really healthy, your ability, and I want to say this because this will motivate a lot of people, and I'm not bullshitting, this is 100% true. If your gut is healthy, your ability to burn body fat, your ability to build muscle, your likelihood of being in a good mood, the way your brain operates, the way you recover, your hormone profile, all improve or are at their best or at the highest odds of being at their best if you have good gut health. So even if you're just motivated by aesthetics and I don't give a shit, I just want to look good and I'm only 18 and I feel perfectly healthy and fine, I promise you, if you make gut health one of your priorities, your aesthetics will benefit as well.
Yep.
And with that, if you like Mind Pump, leave us a 5-star rating review on iTunes. If we like your review and we pick it, you'll get a free Mind Pump t-shirt. Also, turn this off, go to YouTube right now. Did you know we post a brand new video every single day on YouTube? We're the only people that do that. We're machines. You got to check it out. Mind Pump TV on YouTube. Subscribe. You'll get a free video every single day. And also go on Instagram and check us out at Mind Pump Radio. You can find my page at Mind Pump Sal, Adam's at Mind Pump Adam, and Justin's at Mind Pump Justin.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.